My name is Moira Chapman. I'm 81 and I'm married to Bob Chapman, who is 84. We live in Dulwich and we've always had very busy lives. We've both been retired for over 20 years now, and since retirement we've done a lot of going on holidays, a lot of walking. We're keen theatre goers, we go to opera a lot, and we've got a very nice social circle within Dulwich. Bob and I are both mathematicians by trade. Bob worked for British Steel virtually all his working life, and that included 3 years in Saudi Arabia, working for British Steel. And our main hobby that we share is Scottish country dancing. We've done that for about 40 years, I think, and we used to dance regularly on a Monday evening in Knightsbridge, and we went to another dance group which met fortnightly in Dulwich. But we also went on dancing holidays, and so we went dancing in places like France and Lithuania and Hungary, and everywhere we went there's a very strong Scottish country dancing company. In his retirement, Bob's always been quite keen on painting and drawing, and he went to classes at Moira College and has done a lot of painting and drawing there. My main sort of solo activity is playing bridge, which I still do, and otherwise I think it's holidays and things that would count as our hobbies. Well, it goes back a couple of years. I think I got my years right. Bob had 2 strokes. The first stroke, we were actually getting ready to go Scottish country dancing, and I heard a thud. I was downstairs, and Bob called, "I can't get up," and he had completely lost feeling in his right leg, and that was a stroke. Taken into hospital, and with rehabilitation he got the movement in his right leg back quite quickly. And then the following May, we were actually out for a walk, and I suddenly noticed that Bob had lost all words. He was just sort of pointing at it, saying, and he wasn't distressed in any way, he just wanted to indicate something, but he couldn't find any words. So we went home and we dialed 111. By this time, of course, we're deep into COVID, and 111 people put us on to the 999 team, and the ambulance came. And Bob was whisked away into hospital, and because of COVID, I wasn't allowed to go with him in the ambulance, and I wasn't allowed to visit him in hospital. And that was the point at which he really lost the place. Up until that time, he was having a little difficulty with his speech, but we were back to all sort of normal activities. But he was in hospital for a week, and I kept phoning the hospital to try and find out what was happening, and I never got a very clear picture. However, he was discharged, and the discharge letter said that they reckoned he'd had a post-stroke seizure, and that this had put his speech right back to pretty well as bad as it had ever been. And they saw signs of confusion. And they also claimed that this post-stroke seizure was a form of epilepsy, so he was on special medication for that as well. Anyway, so that was the start of it all. And when he came home from hospital, he really was confused. He didn't know which way was up. I mean, he knew he was home, he knew I was, but he sort of lost the grasp of how to use a telephone and things like that. That faded, it did get better, but the discharge letter also said perhaps he should be referred to the memory clinic. So they obviously thought there were signs of dementia there. But it's difficult to explain how much the speech sort of affects almost everything. However, he was referred to a memory clinic at King's, and well, again, still because we're in COVID time, somebody came to the house to assess him, and in October he was assessed as having mixed dementia, which is a mixture of Alzheimer's and vascular dementia, and that's how it's been since. And we have had a little bit of input from the memory clinic at King's, and otherwise we're sort of left on our own, really. I don't think we need a lot of support at the moment. I mean, Bob, he's confused, but he is pretty reliable. I mean, he knows where he is. He goes out for a walk, he finds his way home with no trouble. The things he can't do are he can't write, and he can't deal with the computer. He's pretty vague on his phone as well. But these are not sort of incapacitating things. So I think it's the social aspect which is most important to us, because there's no doubt in my mind that Bob benefits hugely from some sort of social interaction. And for example, we had a week's holiday with family during the summer, and because we were talking all the time, and he was just joining in things. And after that holiday, we went on for another couple of days where there was a family wedding, so a great niece was getting married. And again, there were lots of his brother and sister and people that he knew were there. And so just talking to them and being among them, he really came back with his speech much improved. But in terms of day-to-day things, obviously I've got to take over a lot of things that Bob would have done, like paying all the bills, anything that goes wrong in the house, I've always got to find the guy to fix it. And I'm just not used to that. I mean, it wasn't that I never did anything in the house. I did. I looked after some various aspects of it. But I'd never done a tax return before. I find out how to do tax returns. And there are things like that. They're new and unfamiliar. But I don't feel that anybody could have helped me particularly. If I'd really felt desperate, I'm quite sure. We've got two sons, one living in London. They would have helped me if necessary. But the social aspect, I think, is important. And we still do socialise. We have people in for a meal, we go out for a meal. And they're friends and they understand Bob's situation. So they're usually pretty good at trying to keep a conversation going with him. But we come to this Magnolia Club here once a week. And that is very valuable. He punctuates Bob. It's something that he does which is focused on him. And sometimes he does a bit of drawing, sometimes he's done some mosaic work, and he's enjoyed these activities. And it's now just part of his routine. He's Wednesday, so we go to the Magnolia Club. And similarly, on Thursday, there is a group which is run by Linkage Southwark, and that meets every Thursday in a local church. And sometimes there's art there, usually sort of 2 or 3 times in a 4-week cycle there'll be art. And then another day there'll be reading, and that's just reading out loud, and that's all for people with dementia. And so they concentrate on reading short stories, because there's no point in trying to carry a chapter 1 over to chapter 2 a week later, it would all have gone. So they find short stories and short passages and some poems that people can enjoy reading to each other. And Bob will have a go at reading out loud, though he's not at all good at it. But both of these things I think are very valuable, just getting Bob out, meeting other people and doing something positive. We've got a friend who, I would say, her situation is not very different from Bob's. The difference is Bob can't speak, she can't walk, she's on crutches and sticks and things. And I've been saying to her husband, who is the carer, would she not benefit from something like this? And he keeps saying she's not ready for it yet. And I could say that Bob's not ready for it yet, but actually I'm very pleased that we have made the effort, because the sooner you get into the habit of something that's going to be more and more important as time goes on, I think the better. And it's just very nice to think that this is something we're doing because it's Bob's, whereas all the other stuff is just sort of general socialising, or Moira going off and playing bridge. So I don't think we'll go on other walking holidays, which we used to do. I don't think he's up to that. But he's 84 and he's cheerful, he's not depressed. So I think that's my objective, is to keep him as calm and happy and as involved in things that he can do as possible.